Hello everyone and welcome back to the Cyclocross Social Podcast. Today there's another preview at the World Championships up ahead, but a very different one than we had going up the last 2 days. Today, as we're recording this, it is Tuesday, so that is before we recorded the other episodes. We have a very special guest with us on the podcast to look ahead at her ride at the World Championships. With me here today is rider for Star Casino, Anna Kay. Hey Anna.
Hi.
Thank you for coming on with us today. Could you introduce yourself to the people who maybe don't know you?
I'm Anna Kay. I'm a British rider. I ride for Star Casino Pro CX team, and I'm based out in Belgium at the minute.
So this weekend, we're recording this on Tuesday, is the World Championships. With what kind of feeling are you going towards that race based on your season?
Yeah, I've got quite a good feeling going towards it. It's been obviously quite a difficult season for everyone with like coronavirus and lots of like regulations and restrictions. But I guess it's been a good season. We've had pretty much a full season of racing, and yeah, I had a good result on Sunday, so I'm quite positive for Sunday next week.
And generally speaking, would you be satisfied about how your season has gone so far?
Yeah, generally I'm quite satisfied with my results. Like the level this year is really high. There's a lot of like young upcoming under 23s and juniors who've moved up, who've really brought the level up. Like the women's racing so fast, and I think there's a lot of riders who can be top 20, top 10, top 5. Obviously you have the dominant ones like top 3, like Lucinda and Celine, but like top 10 is anyone's race. So yeah.
And from all the races, if you would need to choose one as your favorite or your best result, which one would you choose?
Probably Namur this year, or Overijs just recently, just on Sunday. That's from this season that's been my best result, but also like such fun courses as well. And like really epic as well.
Your performance there in Overijs was definitely a good performance. And what we noticed there is that not only your performance was good, but the day before your teammate Ribeirol, she performed above her season standard as well there. And you, I mean, I'm not saying you had a bad season, don't get me wrong, because your results have been good, but this was maybe a little step above. Is this something that is not only for you, but for your team, that your entire team has been peaking really towards those World Championships?
Yeah, it was the intention to peak for Worlds. Like I kind of put in a heavy block of racing over Christmas. It was probably the most racing I've ever done. Really, it was like race, rest. And then I kind of had a little break and then went on to 2 weeks of endurance. So I was feeling quite tired. Like the previous weeks, actually, it was only really this weekend I've started to pick up a bit. So I'm pleased I have picked it up, and hopefully after another easier week, I can feel even fresher on Sunday. So yeah.
And with your team, do you like train together, or is it mostly training individual?
Well, I'm based out here in Ghent, and Marion lives more like towards the south in France. So we can train together sometimes, but usually I'm training just with people around here. Not often always together, but obviously at the races we'll course practice together and stuff like that.
And does the experience of your other teammate Eva Lechner sometimes help you? Does she give you some tips during the reckon about some places there?
Yeah, definitely, especially at the start of the season as well. She's really, really good technically and on a bike, so I always do try to follow her in practice, and like we'd talk about lines and stuff. But then we just discuss it, so it's she does help with that.
And how does that work then when you're racing for the national team? Do you reckon the course perhaps more with the people of Team GB, or is it still do you reckon with the likes of your teammates?
I guess both really. I can reckon with the girls from GB as well, or the boys from GB. But it's quite nice that I have a team out here as well that I can go to as well. So it's kind of like you've got the best of both worlds.
And then this weekend, the World Championships. Last year in Dubendorf, you got third in the under 23 category. How did that race go for you?
Yeah, that was a really good race. It was a good season for me last year. It was kind of like a big step up. I'd never really achieved results like that before, so I was all kind of starstruck with everything. But yeah, that result kind of finished my season really, really well. It was quite special.
There you ended behind your teammate, world champion Marion Norbert-Ribeiro and Catablanca Vache. So do you think that these two riders are going to be your main opponents the upcoming weekend in Oostende, or do you think that there's potentially some new names?
I think they're contenders for the jersey as well. I think there's also more. I think there's probably like 9 or 10 girls who could get the jersey. I think it'll depend on the day, on who's in the best shape and look, and what the course conditions are like on the day as well. I think there's a lot of good young riders who could win it.
And the course itself, what do you already know about it?
So it's on the coast. The one half of the course is pretty much grass and it's quite twisty and it's fairly English, just like on a field, kind of on a golf course. It could be muddy if it rains, but if not, I think it'll be quite fast. And then you kind of go over this massive 20% bridge over a road and onto this sand section, like on the beach, which is going to be really quite heavy. Probably a lot of running. But yeah, the course looks quite good.
And do you like the parcours like that, or would another type of parcours have been ideal for you?
I think ideally a few hills would be good for me, with us being so small. But yeah, I think the course, it's the same for everyone. Everyone has to ride it. But I'll make the best of it.
And this type of parcours, you already said it's the same for everyone, but do you think that it would give you maybe the 5% extra of the good parcours, or is there maybe some other riders who you think are very dangerous on a parcours like this, more than on a parcours like we had in, let's say, Overijssel or Namur?
Yeah, I definitely think that some of the girls will suit like the sandy sections more. Like for example, like maybe the Dutch girls, because they've been used to racing on sandy courses all their life, whereas me from England, like there's not that many sandy courses. But then, yeah, I guess the sand is only one part of the course. You have to race the full part of the course as well. And the other half is quite English, so that's all right.
And on that parcours there in Oostende, what do you expect in terms of racing? Do you expect the decision to be made very quick, potentially already in the first or second lap in the sand, or do you expect that it will be a very competitive race with multiple riders in contention, perhaps a bit like we had in Bogense?
I think it'll depend on like the other half of the course. If it's muddy, if it's really fast, then I think probably it could be like Bogense, where there could be like 10, 11 riders in the front group, and then it'll just be something really small that splits them up. But if it's muddy, then it could be a race of if someone gets away at the start, then they stay away, kind of like last year. So yeah.
In the last couple of weeks, Manon Bakker has made a step up in terms of her form. Do you think that she is the woman to beat there?
Yeah, I think she's really made a massive step this year, and I think she'll want that World Champs jersey. So I think she's definitely got a big chance of getting it. She's in very good shape, so yeah.
And if you would need to put your own chances up against that, do you think that competing for the win is realistic, or are you going there with perhaps a goal of scoring a medal or even a top 5?
Yeah, I think a goal for me is a podium or a top 5. I would be so thrilled with that. But yeah, obviously you always have to aspire to wanting the jersey. It's always like the top goal. So yeah.
The only clean race you had this year, and with clean I mean the only race with only under 23 women riders, was the European Championships in Den Bosch all the way in the beginning of the season. You ended 9th there. I can imagine that was not the result you were hoping for. But after that, how would you say you have grown, and to what level do you think you've grown?
Yeah, Euros it wasn't the best race for me. It was really fast and I was still kind of just finding my feet into the season. Because of the lack of racing over the summer, I really missed that intensity at the start of the year. So I've kind of just found my way as the season's gone on. So yeah, I mean, even a top 10 at Worlds, I think it is difficult to get. So it will be a hard one. But yeah, we'll just see.
Well, the level of the under 23 category this year is definitely insanely strong, because the favorites there could as well have been outsiders in the elite race. That's definitely something that you don't see every year. So in terms of that, you're absolutely right, at least judging by what I've seen from the TV, that it's been a brutal season. Some other names, Inge van der Heijden, what do you expect that she can do on a parcours like Oostende? Because she's had a bit of a season with up and downs as well.
Yeah, Inga has had ups and downs, but she does come good on a championship, and like I know she likes the sand, so it could be a race for her as well.
And what would you think if the current weather forecasts are correct and the night from Saturday on Sunday there will be a pack of snow on the parcours?
I think that will be quite good. I think it'll make it a bit more muddy and more technical. Maybe a bit few ruts. Like from last year in Dubendorf, it changed the course completely, but it was actually better because it was more interesting.
And if the snow would be there to stay, then it could potentially become a very slippery race as well, something we haven't seen in a very long time. I can't honestly remember the last time we had a race in a full snow parcours with some ice underneath it, which is very slippery maybe for the people who follow cyclocross a bit longer, like we had in Hogerheide in 2013. Something like that would mean it would be totally different as well, and then perhaps other riders would be coming to the front that you potentially wouldn't expect.
Yeah, that's true. I guess a rider who's used to racing in the snow or riding in the snow from a different country might come good because they're used to it. Like I've never raced, I don't think, in proper snow, so I wouldn't really know what to expect. But yeah, I guess the conditions brings out different riders.
When are you leaving to Oostende to potentially already practice the parcours a couple of times, get a good rhythm in there?
I'm heading over there this Thursday. I think it's official practice, but I've already been across a few times just to have a look around the course, and then also a few bits on the sand sections as well.
Well, that brings us back to the parcours, which we already talked about quite a lot, but I mean, it gives us some more information. I didn't know you had already gone there. When you were there, what can you tell us about the sand? Is it this tough sand to come through, or is it more compact? Is it hard to ride through? Is it going to be running?
It's tough sand. It's proper like beach sand. You come off the bridge and it's like really deep sand. You have to really carry speed through it. But then at the bottom it's like hard packed. Hopefully it's hard packed. And then you come back up the other side, which is also really quite deep sand as well.
So you could perhaps compare it a bit to what we saw in the races like Koksijde and Zilvermeer, that it's really that it will really benefit the sand specialists.
Yeah, I guess the sand is similar to that. But then I guess there's also the other half of the course as well. So it is, you do need to be able to be good in the sand, but also on the other half as well. So I guess it's both. So it's good.
So then it's a good mix, and perhaps not as much as being speculated at the moment that it's definitely the sand that's going to decide. You're saying it's a combination, you need to be good in the sand, but you also need to be able to survive the other parts of the parcours.
Yeah, exactly.
And about that sand, is there also a lot of running, or at least when you were there, is it possible to ride through, or will you need to run quite a significant amount of the time?
I think it depends on the routes. I think I maybe rode the sections a few times, but then in the race, when you might not be able to ride them. It might actually be faster to run them anyway. I think it'll depend how the lines are rode in really.
And how good is your knowledge about the tide? Because that will probably play a crucial role if you can be able to ride along the shore, or if you need to perhaps go a bit higher where potentially you need to run.
I'm not really too sure. I haven't really looked into it actually. I have heard that the tide might be, I don't know, it might not work in our favour, but yeah, that'll be a very long run if the tide's out, and we have to run along where the hard sand was. But.
And the bridge, was it already there when you were practicing the course, or will you see that on Thursday?
It was built, but I've only rode to the top. I haven't rode off it. But it's like 20%. It's really steep. So I guess there's like a mini hill in the middle of the course.
Well, it's certainly one of the longest bridges, and I think that will mean it might not be the decisive part in the race, but I can imagine that if you've done 5 or 6 laps, that you will definitely feel it when you need to come the 7th time.
Yeah, definitely. And especially because you go up it once onto the sand and then you come back over it on the other side. So you have to go up it twice.
Well, we're nearing the end of the podcast, so would you dare to make a prediction about the race? Who do you think will win?
I think there could be 10 of us who's take it, but I do think Blanca Vass has shown really good form over this season. I think she's definitely a contender.
I think that's really a good pick. She was on some of our lists as well, and of course she's had a great season. And I think we'll find out this weekend how it goes, if you're right, or perhaps you can even surprise yourself and claim the title. We will see. I would like to thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
We'll be back with another episode of the Cyclocross Social Podcast later, and later means tomorrow, when we will talk about the first races of the World Championships, the Under-23 men's race and the Elite women's race. We'll see you guys then. Goodbye.